Hello everyone and thank you much for watching. This is me, Mr. P, and welcome back to a Proxmox Home Server series. Inside the YouTube community tab, I set up a poll asking you which media server do you prefer to get set up inside the Proxmox. And majority of you voted for Jellyfin, so that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'll show you how to set up Jellyfin Media Server inside your Proxmox and how to use a virtualized TrueNAS ZFS storage pool to store all your media. So let's begin. To set up Jellyfin inside the Proxmox Home Server, there is two ways to do, actually 3 ways, but majority is 2 ways, is to have the virtualized inside the virtual machine or running inside the LXC container and then Docker inside it. Both of them will work fine. The benefit of running Jellyfin inside the LXC container is that the resources of your Proxmox host will be used less. I will show you in this video how to set up inside a virtual machine because it's easy. You set up and it's going to work fine. Yes, you can set up inside LXC like I mentioned, but there is a little bit of quirky things you need to do, which I don't think is going to be that quite easy to understand. What you actually need to do is a bit, actually more steps to get done to complete before you have a Jellyfin running. So we're going to do inside the virtual machine. And the virtual machine I chose is my DIETPI. So DIETPI, as you can see, DIETPI 29/11/2022. So on 29th of November, I created this template, or I updated this template. The upcoming video will be to show you how you can refresh your templates for the future use, because since November, this DIETPI OS had a lot of updates and etc. So I'll show you how to refresh the templates. But in this video, let's set up ourselves a Jellyfin media server. So I'm going to right click on this template. I'm going to choose clone and I will go for the number, which number is free, 202. I will call this media server, and mode I'm going to choose full because I want to have a full clone of template and not the linked one. TLDR, linked one means that it's going to be linked to a template. If you delete the template, VM will stop functioning, and a full one, that means that is detached from the template, and if a template gets deleted, the VM will work. So here we go. I created this, so we can actually start this going. So I'm going to start this virtual machine going, and we're going to jump right now to set up our media pool. I will set up a data set inside my virtualized TrueNAS to store all my media, all my movies, TV shows, documentaries, and everything else. So this is my TrueNAS running inside the Proxmox. This is the one. There you go, to ID number 200. So inside here, I will click on a dataset and I will expand data. Then I'll expand Proxmox, and inside Proxmox dataset, I have another dataset by the name of PVE-drives. And inside here, I have my clone cloud VM drive. This is where the Mr. P cloud and the Jeff cloud lives. So I'm going to click on the PVE drives, and on the right hand side, I will click a big blue button, add data set. If you don't see this UI, that means that you're running on an older version of the TrueNAS. I've already done a video demonstrating how you can update the TrueNAS to a new version of the Bluefin. If your UI is still on an old version, I recommend to watch that video, how to update the data set, how to update the TrueNAS to a newest version, and all this new layout, all this new UI will be available for you. Anyway, I have a PVE drive selected. I'm going to click add a dataset. And right now I'll give a name. It's going to be media server. Media server. Let's go back. Let's go down, and generic I'll choose to SMB because I want to share the dataset with the virtualized Jellyfin. And I'm going to click save. It's going to ask me to update ACL or access control list. I need to do that to allow my main user, which is DEX, the main user, to have a read and write permission to this dataset. So inside the ACL, I will delete group root and I'll put DEX. So that means that every user inside the group DEX will have read and write permission to this dataset, and owner still stays as a root. So I change DEX, I said applied group, and I click save, and right now the ACL changes getting saved to this dataset. This will take just a couple of seconds or so, so I'll wait for this to finish. Here we go. So right now if I click on the media server dataset, on the right hand side, as you can see, it says owner root and the group is DEX. That means the username by name of DEX has access to this dataset with the read and write permissions. Right now the dataset is created. I'm going to click on shares, and inside the Windows SMB shares, I'm right now going to click add, and I will expand the folder structure or dataset structure all the way down to my media server. Select that, and the name automatically gets populated. I'm going to scroll down and click save. And right now, and then inside the new TrueNAS UI, I'm just going to click restart. On the older version, you don't need to do that. On the newer one, it's asking you to restart the Samba just to make sure it's working. So right now, my media server dataset has been shared. Let's go back and see what's happening with my media server here. or media server virtual machine. So right now I can see it's under 81, IP address ending with 81. So I'm going to SSH into this virtual machine. So I'm inside this virtual machine for the my Jellyfin, and I can see there is a update happened to a DIETPI, and a bunch of packages needs to be updated. So I'm going to do that next before proceeding further. So all the packages get downloaded and updated. And next thing what I'm going to do is change the hostname, because at the moment it's still under DIETPI template. So just gonna type dietpi-config, go all the way to option 6, then choose hostname, delete this and put media server VM, okay, back, exit, okay, and just type reboot to reboot virtual machine to accept the new hostname. Virtual machine for this media server restarted, everything's fine. So next thing what I need to do is I need to mount the Samba share from my TrueNAS by the name of the TrueNAS Samba share by the name of media server to this virtual machine. To do that, I will just type dietpi-drive_manager, and you need to do with the root user. And right now I'm going to choose option add a network drive. I'll choose Samba. I will complete the local IP address. It gives you a first two numbers. So I'm going to type 178 and 24. Press enter, and it's asking me which folder I want to share on here. So if I go back to my TrueNAS, this is the name. So if I pick Mr. P Cloud, it's going to be mount this. If I put data, it's going to be mount this. So I'm just going to type media server. Let's go back into SSH, and I type media server, press enter. Which user I want to use? I'm going to use Dex, and I'll put Dex again as my password. That's how I created. And now it's asking me where do I want to mount. If I leave this as a mount/Samba, it works great, but I don't like this way just because it's just a bit of complexity happening in the future setups. So I'm just going to move the mount point to a different location. In this case, it's going to be mnt/dietpi_user data, and then capital letters media. So this is where it's going to store this stuff. I'm going to click OK. And it's going to start automatically download necessary programs like CIF, utils, and SMB client to mount this. If I entered everything correctly, I should see the successful message pop up saying that the mount has been completed. So let's wait for that message to show up. All this process again, it takes just a couple of seconds or so, so be patient. And here we go, mount is completed, and it tells me that new mount can be accessed via, and this is a location where it is. So dietpi_user data. If you see something else than this, that means that you probably entered the Samba shared folder name incorrectly, or username and a password is wrong. And click OK on this. I'll go back, exit, and OK. So right now, if I'm going to go to mount, DIETPI user data and the capital letters media, this is where the stuff will live. Now I need to change to the DIETPI user and start creating folders. If I'll create the folders under root, the Jellyfin will not have access to access the files, read and write, and etc. So to change the user, I need to type su space DIETPI. It refreshes everything, and if I'll list, I'm inside the same folder. So first one is going to be movies, make directory TV shows, make directory, let's say family, to store your family videos, make directory docs for documentaries. What else we can say? Yeah, this, oh yeah, make dir music. So right now this directory has docs for documentaries, family videos, movies, music, and TV shows. So this is running. Next thing, we need to start setting up our Jellyfin. We will set up Jellyfin inside the Docker, and we're going to use a linuxserver.io Docker container. Linuxserver.io is an amazing team that created a lot of containers that we will use in the future. They have a bunch, I think over 50 or so containers for all sorts of stuff that you can host inside your Docker using their provided Docker images. In this case, we're going to use a Jellyfin by Linux Server. If I scroll down a bit until I find the necessary file, which is docker-compose. So I'm just going to select all of this, right click and choose copy, go back inside my SSH, and currently my working directory is mount/dietpi user data. If I list the content, I have a media. This is our Samba share. Music, pictures, videos, and downloads are automatically created by DIETPI OS, and docker-data is just something I created while I was creating the DIETPI template to have a Docker already installed. To make sure the Docker is running, if I put docker space ps, and because I'm not root, if I do that under root, it gives me like this. So it tells me that no container is running. Or if I put like write just sudo space docker, it gives me the help page. And if you see that, that means Docker is functioning. So while we inside the mount DIETPI user data, I'll create another folder by the name of Docker. and I will change directory into a Docker. And right now I make directory called Jellyfin. And if I cd into a Jellyfin, this is the one we're going to use. So this is where we're going to store this Jellyfin Docker container, Docker image. So right now inside the folder Jellyfin, I will create a file by the name of docker-compose.yml. To do that, I need to type nano docker-compose.yml. And inside here, I'm going to left click and choose paste. And this is the Docker Compose file with instructions to the Docker how to create a Jellyfin container. So let's go down from the top to see what's what. We're going to use 2.1 version. We're going to create services, and one of the services, and only one service that's going to run is called Jellyfin. We're going to use image provided by Linux server people, and we're going to use the latest version. Container name will be Jellyfin. I will leave that because I want to just know what container is running. Jellyfin name. PUID and PGID is 1000. This is why we used DIETPI user data, DIETPI user to create movies, TV shows, documentaries, and etc. folders, because DIETPI user is under user ID 1000 and user group 1000. If we used root, this needs to be changed to 00, but I do not recommend that to give root access to Docker containers. So leave this under 100, 1000, 1000 and create those folders with the DIETPI user. In my case, I live in UK, so Europe/London time zone is great. You can change this to yours. I will ignore this line. I'm just going to comment that out because I don't need this. So next thing is creating the locations for config file. I'm just going to put ./config and delete rest of them, and I'll create that folder after I finished editing Docker Compose file. Next thing is asking me to give a direction where the data TV shows and the data movie stored. So instead of having each line representing the movies, TV shows, documentaries, etc., I will basically do this. I will comment out the second line, and this one I will enter mount DIETPI user data / media. I will delete all this before the colon. And on the Docker side, so this is your host location. This is where the Docker location lives. So instead of saying data / TV shows, I'm just going to put capital letters media as well. So that means that inside the container, I will look for folder by name of media, which will represent this folder on the left. And this folder on the left is basically a Samba share inside my TrueNAS virtual machine. The port 8096 by default is access port for the Jellyfin. Is fine by me. I'll leave that as it is. And then remaining ones is just optional ones that I don't really know actually for why they stored. I'm just going to leave them fine. It's never basically messed up my Jellyfin server before. So I'm just going to leave this by default and restart. It says unless stopped. That means the Docker will try to restart the container if it detects that the container stopped or crashed or etc. Unless the user, that's the admin of this virtual machine, in this case is you. If it decides to press stop on that container, the Docker will leave that will leave that stop. So we're just going to press Ctrl X to exit, Y to save, Enter to complete. And now if I'm going to CAT the Docker Compose file, I created a folder called config and put a dot in front of it. Dot means it's a current folder, and inside the current folder look for subfolder config. So my current folder is Jellyfin, and inside this current folder is a Docker Compose. So inside the Jellyfin I need to create another folder called config, and this is where the Jellyfin will store the config files. So right now we can start running this Docker Compose image and start getting the container created. To run a Docker Compose file you need to be admin, so you can change from DIETPI to an admin, or just type sudo in front. Just type docker-compose -- --d and press enter. And right now, as you can see, there is output happening on a screen, and it shows you how many separate files the Docker needs to download from the Docker hub and get this container set up. And this will take just a couple of seconds. So let's wait, as the biggest file that probably is going to be this one, 276 megabytes. So I'm just going to wait for this to happen. I'll be back when all the Docker is running, or actually Docker container is running. And here we have ourselves a Jellyfin Docker container running. As you can see, one of the lines at the top, it says 53.7 seconds. That's how long it took for Docker to download all the images, extract, and set everything up. So right now, if I type sudo, because I'm still under user DIETPI, so I type sudo docker ps, press enter, I can see more information happening that I saw before. And I have a Docker with ID number 19971. and it's image. This is an image, command initiate, created 22 seconds ago. It's been up 21 seconds, and all the ports that what I need to use to access this Jellyfin. And at the end, I see the name Jellyfin. So the access port for this is 8096. If you type your virtual machine IP address followed by 8096, will be presented with a welcome to Jellyfin setup wizard. So we're going to quickly go through that. Preferred language is English. That's fine. I'm going to click next. Username instead of ABC, by default they gives you user ABC. I'm going to put Mr. P, and very simple password for me to enter. Click next, and now it's asking me, do I want to set up the library? So I'm going to say yep. I'm going to click add the library. I'm going to say I want to set up movies library. Name movies will be fine. Under folders, as you can see, this is a data/media, and this is the folder that will linked inside the Docker Compose file. Instead of having data/movies, data/TV shows, I just said that's it. This is one folder, and I don't need to worry about if I'm going to create more subfolders inside the folder media. I don't need to worry to link them again inside Docker Compose. So I'm going to click on the media. This is all my folders are created. So I'm going to choose movies. I obviously have option to network connect to this. I tried this setup before, but I just like to mount the Samba share directly into a virtual machine and then do all these things instead of mounting the network share straight away into the Docker container. So I'm going to click OK on that. Scroll down a bit. Preferred download language for this stuff or for the media inside the folder is going to be English. So I'm going to scroll down a bit to find English. Preferred country is going to be United Kingdom. This is where I am. So I'm going to click U and look for United Kingdom. Next one is prefer embedded titles over file names. Determine the display titles to use them in the United. So basically it's if your file name has like some weird symbols or something, is going to try to use that to detect the metadata for this media files. Leave that unticked. If some of the media or majority of the media won't be detected, you obviously can go back to this setup and inside the settings, go to this library and change this setting if you want. Next thing is a disable difference embedded subtitles. We're going to leave always on. Enable real-time monitoring. That's fine. I don't want to add automatic to collections because I want to manually do that. Metadata downloaders is going to be the movies DB and Open Movies database. I'm going to say fine on those. Automatic refresh metadata. I'm going to say 30 days, just in case if the movie receives the update to the description or update to the pictures of the actors and etc. I like that to be updated every 30 days. Metadata server, NFO. I'm going to say yes, fine by me. Then image fetching is going to be from these 4 sources. Yes, that's fine. So if you're going to find the image inside this, it's going to go to next one, next one, next one. So scroll down a bit. Save artwork inside the media folder. I'm going to say yes. So if you have a folder and there is a movie inside that folder, the Jellyfin will download all the artwork in that folder. Enable chapter image extraction. I'm going to say yes, fine by me. And extract chapter images during the library scan. I'm going to say yes. And click OK. So here you go. We have a media created that we can do right now. The next one, we can set up the TV shows, movies, TV shows, documentaries, etc. I'm going to leave movies for now. Click next. Preferred metadata language, English. And I'm just going to say instead of United States, I'm going to say United Kingdom. And click next. Allow remote connection to the server. I'm going to say yes. And enable automatic port mapping. I'm gonna not take that. I don't like the Docker container trying to in any way mess up with the router, opening ports on, etc. If I want to have access to this, I can use the Cloudflare tunnel, which I already done a video about how you can set up Cloudflare tunnel, give yourself an access with the domain to your hosted services, or Tailscale. This is probably how I'm going to use. I'm just going to Tailscale into this using Tailscale plus it's called subnet route advertising. I already done a video about it as well. You can find the link to that in the description below. So I'm going to click next on that. Well done. Well, thank you very much. And click done. Okay. Now username was Mr. P. I clicked enter the password. So here you go. I have a movies here. At the moment, nothing inside. If I go back and click on a free hamburger menu under dashboard, I see a lot of stuff that I can tweak with. If I click, for example, on the libraries, this is where I can start going and setting up manage the libraries. This is where I can go, for example, like I said, and add this tick if I want to, or change the settings if something doesn't work for me. I just went to an Internet Archive database and downloaded a very, very old movie from 1936 called Undercover Man. So this is the one we're going to use for the demo of adding the media to a file and etc. I just use the SMB to connect to the share inside the TrueNAS virtual machine from my phone and just uploaded the file inside the movies folder. So inside the Jellyfin, if I click on a hamburger menu, I'll choose a dashboard. under libraries. This is the library for movies. I'm going to click scan all libraries. So all the libraries that you add, if you press the button, it's going to go over and scan every single library for all the new content you added. So let's wait for that to finish. That means that's done. I'll click on our home. And here you go. This is the movie showed up, detected the actual title and downloaded the thumbnail, the cover. If I click on that, it is using the cover as a thumbnail and using the, as you see, a banner at the top, probably downloaded from one of the community servers. It gives me a list of the cast and crew. And as you can see, there is a chapters every 5 minutes pulled in. It gives me more information about this movie. And if I press play, obviously I'm not going to show exactly what it is, just I don't want to get penalized from YouTube. But if I'm going to press play, as you can see, the bar is moving. So I'm going to jump in a bit. Jump a bit, and movie is plays with no problems at all, and it's not even getting tagged on the server. So Jellyfin is quite well on the basically utilizing resources you provide to this virtual machine. Let's say you want to add another library. If you click on the hamburger menu, click dash on the dashboard, click on the libraries, click add a new library. Let's say we'll quickly set up the other one, TV shows. Instead of shows, I like to say TV shows. That's fine. So folder, again, it's going to be media. Let's choose it's going to be hiding here. TV shows, click OK. Preferred language is going to be English. Let's find where is English. English at the top. Country is going to be United Kingdom. What else? We can quickly check. Special series display name specials. Okay. Preferred embedded files episodes of the file names. No, I don't want this. That's fine. Different subtitles. That's fine. Quickly set up. I want to update TV shows as well. TV shows metadata update every 30 days. I'm going to use NFO, etc., etc. Save media. Yes, that's fine. I am going to tick this. I'm going to tick this. Okay. And right now, if I have any TV shows, I can upload this by SMB, and the Jellyfin will automatically scan the library and obviously will put them into the location here. If I'm going to click on the TV shows, if I had any TV shows, it's going to be showing up inside this place. So this is how you set up a Jellyfin inside a virtual machine on the Proxmox. And that's it. Very simple, very easy to set up, and it works great with no problems at all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.